Nowadays, bilingualism is present in almost every country in the world, in all social classes and at all ages. In fact, at least half of the world's population is bilingual or multilingual. Defining bilingualism is very complicated. The best known definition is that of Uriel Weinreich, who defined bilingualism as the alternative use of two languages. There are different types of bilingualism. In the balanced bilingualism, the individual knows both languages perfectly. But this situation is almost impossible because one language always prevails, even if only slightly, over the other. In the dominant bilingualism, one of the two languages is dominant with the same or similar fluency to that of a native speaker, usually in the mother tongue, while the second is weaker. There is another classification based on the temporal space where someone becomes bilingual. We have early bilingualism, when the language is learned at preschool age, that is from 0 to 3 years old, in contrast to late learning, where the acquisition takes place during puberty in the school environment. The early bilingualism is divided into simultaneous and consecutive. Simultaneous, when the acquisition of the two languages occurs naturally, since childhood, usually by the parents who have two different mother tongues. Consecutive, on the other hand, happens when the mother tongue is acquired first and then the second language after the age of 3. There is also the borderline case of passive bilinguals, people who only understand one of the two languages but are unable to speak it. In order to fully learn a new language, the environment in which it is acquired is very important. Parents are fundamental for the acquisition of a second language, because they determine the linguistic selection of the child and how much time he or she will spend in contact with the languages. In addition, the other children, including siblings, peers, or children of other ages, will help the development of the language in the person. School is another fundamental condition because during the school age, the child separates from the local and familiar language to learn the national language. Over the last 35 years, more than 150 studies have been carried out, which prove the benefits of bilingualism in the early age, from a metalinguistic, cognitive, emotional, communicative, and cultural point of view. Learning a second language during adulthood is possible, above all if you are motivated. Also, adults have their strengths to learn a new language, which are motivation, concentration, linguistic basis, autonomy, and economic possibilities. The advantages of learning a new language in adulthood are the delay of neurodegenerative diseases, such as Alzheimer's or senile dementia, memory enhancement, improvement of multitasking skills, and delay of cognitive decline. Bilingual education can take place at home or at school. At home, therefore, we talk about the family, which are parents and relatives. In this regard, Schmidt-Mackey has identified 4 of the most widely used strategies in the family. The first are strategies in person, that is, when parents or family members only communicate with their child in one language. Strategies of place are when the minority language is used at home by parents while the language to be learned is done outside home, for example at school or in the community. Regarding time, topic, and activity strategies, parents require their children to speak several languages during the day. In alternating strategies, 2 or more languages are used alternately. Learning a language in the nursery is seen by children as a game and by parents as an extra opportunity given to children to learn that language and keep it alive throughout their lives. Children learn the language during preschool age through songs, fairy tales, and various language activities. Theoretically, in Italian schools, the communicative approach has been adopted for a long time, using an American method that considers the language as a tool for communicating needs, thoughts, and emotions, and not as something to be analyzed and studied. In conclusion, when can a person be considered bilingual? At this point, bilingualism must be defined as the possession of 2 languages, since the bilingual is in a continuum where in one extreme we find a person with a native linguistic competence, and on the other hand there is an individual who has just begun to learn a second language. Those who are in this continuum may be considered bilingual, but each of them will have reached different levels of bilingualism. Furthermore, it should be borne in mind that perfect bilingualism does not exist. There are cases where someone can go through moments when one language is more important than the other, or where he has acquired better skills in one of the languages. Therefore, bilingual can also be considered who, in another language, can communicate in all situations, even if he makes grammar mistakes. What we always have to remember is that communication is not based on learned language or on the perfect use of grammar rules. Communication is a completely different word.